James Madison, the fourth president from 1809 to 1817, is the only president to have two vice presidents die in office. Is it a curse? Is it a conspiracy? Or is it just a coincidence? I'm Bob Summers, and this is a presidential story. When James Madison took office in 1809, his vice president was George Clinton. No, not that George Clinton. I love that joke. This George Clinton was the first governor of New York, serving for 21 years, longer than any other New York governor. Clinton was also not new to the role of vice president. He had been vice president during Jefferson's second term, after the infamous Jefferson-Burr falling out during the election of 1800. During the early days of the Republic, the vice presidency was not the glamorous job it is today. Back then, the real stepping stone to the presidency was through the office of Secretary of State. And Jefferson hoped his Secretary of State, James Madison, would succeed him. But just to make sure, he picked someone for the vice presidency who was older, so they would not be seen as a threat to Madison's candidacy. Clinton would be 69 for the 1808 election. But Clinton didn't get the memo. He did challenge Madison for the presidency, and Madison's nominating caucus outmaneuvered Clinton by nominating him for vice president. Clinton still put his name forward for president and received 6 electoral votes. After Madison's win, Clinton became the first vice president to serve under 2 different presidents. The only other person to do that was the man with the intense stare, John C. Calhoun, under Presidents John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. But Clinton held some resentment over not being president himself. Clinton did not even attend Madison's inauguration. So saying he served Madison would be a gross mischaracterization. For example, Clinton helped block the confirmation of Albert Gallatin, Madison's choice for Secretary of State, and he also cast the tie-breaking vote against the re-charter of the First Bank of the United States. On April 20th, 1812, at the age of 72, Clinton suffered a fatal heart attack. He was the first vice president to die in office. In fact, he was the first vice president to die at all. All of the other former vice presidents were still living. For the last year of Madison's first term, the position of vice president was vacant. For you see, before the 1967 ratification of the 25th Amendment, there was no constitutional mechanism for replacing a vice presidential vacancy that occurred mid-term. If the VP died, resigned, or became president, the vice presidency would remain vacant until the next election. In this case, the next election was 1812. Madison had the same thinking as Jefferson when selecting his vice president, someone older, who would not challenge his Secretary of State, James Monroe, for the presidency. So Madison's VP choice was John Langdon, 71. Langdon, perhaps wisely, passed on the job. Madison's second choice was Elbridge Gerry, 68, an original member of the U.S. House of Representatives and former governor of Massachusetts. While governor, Gerry famously signed a bill that redistricted Massachusetts for the benefit of the Democratic-Republican Party. The districts were so distorted that one was said to resemble a mythological salamander. And with Gerry transitioning to Jerry, the term gerrymander was born. Anyway, back to the 1812 election, Gerry was having money problems and had reached out to Madison for a government job. Madison said, "Sure. How does vice president sound?" And Gerry said, "That sounds sweet." A year and a half later, Gerry was dead, and the vice presidency was once again vacant. Gerry would hold the record for the oldest vice president for the next 116 years, until 69-year-old Charles Curtis became Herbert Hoover's vice president in 1929. So we see the unintended consequences of Madison's political selection of older men for the vice presidency. It's not a curse. Probably. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please click the like button and subscribe to hear more presidential stories. And please visit POTUS.com for more interesting facts about the presidents.